You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind.
With the emergence of global internet, a human population of several billions, an electronic noosphere, that we are now within the shadow of this transcendental object at the end of time.
I find it a little difficult to say what the subject matter is going to be, because
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Shake and bake, steps back, three-pointer, bang!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Midnight Variety Hour. Today is a great day. I'm feeling very good about it. I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host,
Adam.
And Adam, we are here today with a couple good friends of the show, even though one of them has never been on before. Of course, we're here with our main man, Sid, who has done the show before.
Let's
you
go.
know him from our talks about solar energy and shit like that, but he's also, as many people know, a lifelong Rockets fan. So it was only fitting that we have him on today because today is our second ever edition of Midnight Variety Hour Sports Edition. So it's the second time we've done it. The last time we did it was during the NBA playoffs. But we're doing it again because the NBA season is right around the corner, and we never really get to talk about sports as much as we want to. So that's what we're doing today. Our other guest is someone I'm very excited to talk to. We are joined by Roosh Williams, host of the Noble and Roosh show podcast. You can check it out anywhere that you get your podcast. He is a Houstonian. He's a sports fan. Most of all, he's a Rockets fan. He just knows everything hoops, and so we're very excited to talk hoops with him today. Roosh, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for making the time to come on. Like I said, the NBA season is right around the corner. You are affiliated with ballislife.com, so I mean, you know hoops inside and out, absolutely. So we wanted to have you on the show. First off, what we like to do with our guests, because the main thing we do on the show is we talk to people that we're interested in who have either interesting hobbies or passions or jobs, and we kind of just get their life on the, their take on life in the world. And for you being such a sports expert and coming on our sports edition of the podcast, why don't you just start with a little bit about yourself, how you got into, being such a huge basketball fan, when you fell in love with basketball, and just a little bit of background on you and yourself.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, so like you said, I'm from Houston. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know how old you guys are. I was born in 89. I'm 32. So when I was a kid, they went back to back, right? And like, you're never more impressionable than when you're a kid, right? So I think I was 5, 6 years old. Elijah Wan, Clutch City, Drexler, Robert Horry, that whole thing. And that was it. I mean, I was hooked from that moment. Like that plus obviously the phenomenon of Michael Jordan. Right. I mean, Michael Jordan's my favorite athlete of all time. Yeah. So you went from, like, I don't remember the Bulls' first three-peat, but you go from the Rockets going back-to-back straight into the Bulls' second three-peat with MJ and Space Jam and just everything they were selling us, right? The shoes, the Gatorade, everything, right? I ate it all up. And so from that moment, I was just hooked. And when you are indoctrinated into something with your team winning back-to-back championships, and then also when I was a kid, I think I was in first grade. I played like in a little league, right? And we were the Bulls. That was like we had the Bulls shirt. Nice. And we won the championship as well, right? So like it was just winning. Oh yeah. Yeah. And you just I just fell in love with the game, and I've been hooked ever since. And over the years, the Rockets have let us down, but they've also had some moments where it looked like they were going to do it again. In 2009, for example. And so Yao Ming went down. Yeah. 2018 when they had Harden and Chris Paul. Right. 2015 when they made the Western Conference Finals again. Like you live for those moments, right? You live for those moments where you can recapture the glory of trying to win it all. And I played basketball. I'm not like a college athlete or anything, but I get busy on little pickup games and like
nice with it.
Yeah, so does Adam over here.
Relatively speaking, there's a million better basketball players than me, but if we're talking average Joes, I'll beat up on some average Joes for sure. Okay. But yeah, man, and so it's just the kind of thing where the game to me is like chess in motion. There's there's moves, there's counters, there's different things that you're trying to do to like draw the defense to move. It's just like it's a moving game, so I just love it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about just the how beautiful the game of basketball is. And for us, I mean, you mentioned you were born in 89. I was born in 95, Adam 92, right?
Yep.
And then Sid
92.
Okay,
yeah.
so I mean,
We're all relatively.
we're all relatively in the same age group. I think we have been blessed to grow up in an amazing era for basketball. Not only right now, but like the dudes that we saw as a kid. I mean, I feel like the league has changed a lot from when we were growing up to now. Like, so we got to see a bit of the 90s. We got to see sort of the early 2000s crazy physical basketball, and now this super offensive driven league. But the level of talent that we're witnessing right now is just unparalleled. Like, we are living in a very blessed time to be a basketball fan, because it just feels like there's a surplus of talent in the league. The NBA is currently the greatest reality TV show that you could, possibly be watching. The league is full of amazing personalities and people. So I personally just feel really lucky to be a basketball fan existing in 2021 right now.
For sure. And for me, Roosh, when you were talking about how you fell in love watching the Rockets go back to back, Olajuwon is my favorite basketball player of all time.
Nice.
Mainly because of that reason, but also I love his story, where he came from, how he got to the league and just dominated when he got. It was just an amazing story and career that guy had. I can't wait to talk some Rockets. I already saw Sid get a little worked up over here when you were mentioning 2018 Chris Paul. He was like breathing hard over here already. So
the scars remain, man. No, it's funny. You were mentioning also you were 5 or 6. You got to see the Rockets championships. I think when I was 5, 6, it was the John Stockton shot, and so I was already indoctrinated into the heartbreak that is being a Rockets fan. And then the Chris Paul hamstring is just another one of those scars you wear on the way. But speaking like what you were saying, Tom, the talent level in the NBA, and I mean the Rockets, man, they've got the talent, they got the young players, and they've loaded up on it. And
I can't wait to talk Jalen Green, man.
I can't wait to talk shit.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
This dude, real deal or no? What do you think?
We had a really interesting draft, man. What do you think about Jalen Green and the guys we got?
And I'm so excited. I mean, look, last season is probably the least excited that I've been about Rockets basketball since I've been alive.
Sure, same here. The whole city probably feels that way.
Yeah, and so to bounce back with Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün, Usman Garuba. I'm iffy on Josh Christopher, but at least the other three I think are really exciting.
All 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They're all 19 years old. I talked to Jay Billis last night for my podcast, which will be coming out soon. And Jay Billis said Houston won the draft in his opinion, so, or at least was one of the winners of the draft.
Sure.
And so it's just nice. It's cool to see people, it feels like media and personalities have not cared for Houston basketball in a long time, always looking for a reason to kind of, basically not give the Rockets the credit I thought they deserved over the last half decade. And now to see everyone switch up and, they're excited about Jalen Green, they're excited about Şengün, like that's cool to see. I think Jalen Green's ceiling is limitless. Jay Billis said he thinks he's got the potential to lead the league in scoring multiple times. I think that's the consensus, and I agree with that. But in addition to that, man, we saw him in the summer league show flashes of actual playmaking, right? He was working off the pick and roll, making pocket bounce passes. He had a one-handed scoop pass to Şengün off the pick and roll that was just, you could tell that the playmaking is already there at that age. And that was the biggest question mark, right? It was, okay, he can score, but can he do anything else? And I think we saw, yes, he definitely can. And his athleticism is insane. His first step is ridiculous. His step back is flawless. He glides on the court, and then we didn't even really get a chance to see him play above the rim yet. But when we do, I think it's going to be electric.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Yeah, he's got that Ja Morant kind of bounce.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned Summer League, the things that stood out to you about Jalen Green besides the scoring. One thing that stood out to me is his off-ball work. Obviously, we've been watching James Harden. He's not an off-ball guy, to say the least. But, Jalen Green was running around screens, catching, shooting, just wetting threes. And then there was one play where Şengün had the ball on the post and Green snuck in with a little cut, got a layup. So, for me, being able to see a 19-year-old, not only just shoot the ball, but cut off the ball and do those kinds of things, play and make, like you said, it's like, man, he's got it all.
Dude, another big one is he got to the free throw line a lot, and he has been getting to the line a lot, which is obviously a vet type of game. You want to get to the line, especially when you're the guy on the team, and you can't get all the easy buckets all the time. So that's huge too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just seemed to come natural to him, and that was to me that's the underlying most exciting part. Is it just came natural. He's 19. You could tell the G League stuff I think helped at least with respect to how he performed in the summer league. But he just like Harden, for example, you bring up Harden, who's didn't move off ball, so the contrast is amazing between him and Jalen Green. But it felt like Harden had to labor for those points. You know, he would lull us to sleep with the dribbles, and then you're kind of at the mercy of the step back. Does it fall? Does it not? When he drives, would he get the foul call? Would he not? Like, not to knock James Harden, but this was more refreshing. There were moments where like Jalen Green comes in and then you look up and he just dropped 9 points, and it looked like, you know, like Klay Thompson style. You know, he runs.
Oh yeah.
Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not completely, but you know, or if he has the ball, he makes a decisive move and pulls up. There's no like clock wasting and just kind of lulling to sleep. You didn't see the other 4 players just standing in place waiting for something to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the exciting part. And then obviously, like we said, Şengün, man, look, when the Rockets made the pick, I was trusting in Stone. I'd heard some cool things about Şengün. Some of the footage looked cool, and I liked like the whole Euro big prototype type thing because they're passing, their IQ is just on a different level than we see from young players playing in the NCAA. And man, we saw it. Like 6'9", not that athletic, but he was explosive when blocking shots. His timing on blocking shots was really impressive. I think he averaged 3 blocks a game in the summer league, which was crazy. Averaged almost 3 assists per game. The passing was on full display. There was that one where Jalen Green made a baseline cut and Şengün nutmegged the defender for the. It ended up being a turnover because Jalen Green was out of bounds, but like you can see the potential. He can run the full court with the ball, like Jokic style.
Oh yeah.
The Jokic comparisons are a little off because he's not quite like Jokic, but it's like a mix of Jokic and Domantas Sabonis,
which is a great mix.
Yeah, and then he's got incredible footwork, dude, and he knows how to use his body. And he's only 19, right? 6'9", 240, only 19, has a bag of moves, like, and he shot 81% from the free throw line on I think 6 attempts per game in the Turkish league, which is a really well respected and good league.
Right. Yeah.
And in summer league, his stroke was a little off. So
yeah,
he averaged I think 14.5 points, I think just under 11 boards, 3 blocks, and just under 3 assists per game. I think he shot 43% from the field, which is not very good, but again, he's still finding his stroke. So once he does find that stroke at the NBA level, I'm extremely excited to see what's going to happen with him. I think he'll struggle on defense in like drop coverage sometimes, or I think we're going to have to stick him in drop coverage, and he might struggle in space against quicker guards. So we'll see how he adapts to that. But even in the summer league, like his timing on recovering and blocking shots was there. He played passing lanes well, and he was even able to block some shots from guys pulling up from 3, which like that takes again incredible timing and a nice gather. So like he's got all the tools. So I don't know. I'm excited.
Right.
It's also like a great representation, especially these young guys. Like we have like I feel like there's 2 things happening in the NBA, which is where you have these guys from the Euro leagues coming over and showcasing like just how good these guys are really starting to get. And then you got just super athletes like Jalen Green, you know what I mean? And so it's like I think we have a nice mixture, and I like how we kind of like are starting to build our team. And I just love rebuilds. I think they're so fun, and like you know, it's just kind of it's
exciting.
And also, I wanted to ask you, how do you think they'll play alongside with Christian Wood? Because I really like Christian Wood. What is your opinion on him, and how do you think these guys are going to get along with him?
Christian Wood, I think it's going to work. I will say, I think that Christian Wood's on the shopping block personally.
I was going to bring that
I know
up.
they were looking to trade Christian Wood at some point before the draft. I don't know if that's changed or not. You know, my understanding is that the Rockets do want to, you know, take advantage of his value while he has value, and that I'm not sure if the Rockets are committed to being the team that gives him his like super max or max extension, whatever he's eligible for in a couple years. So I'm trying to not get too attached to Christian Wood because I'm not necessarily expecting him to be around. That being said, if he is around, I think the fit's going to be awesome. I mean, Daniel Tice is the nice type of center to put next to him, a defensive-minded guy that does all the little things, sets picks, boxes out. He's not like a crazy shot blocker, but he can help in that regard too. And you can just let Daniel Tice stick the other teams like, you know, post up big man, because I think we saw Christian Wood wasn't really able to do that.
Yeah, Christian
Wood
was struggling at the center position.
Yes, he was, right? Yeah. So you got Tice there, you get Wood at the 4, and then you've got, I think the Rockets have like a log jam, but it's hopefully a good problem. I mean, John Wall is going to start unless he's not on the team for some reason. So,
which is unfortunate because,
You know, it is unfortunate, but I'm just trying to condition myself.
Yeah, definitely. And
you know,
you're 100% right.
He's a vet. Like they're not, and
you can't.
We have to look, like we as fans look at the game like it's 2K, right? But when you
trying to stack the team,
Well, but when you consider the actual like human beings, right? Like
Right.
Steven Silas has a good relationship with John Wall.
Right.
And that, like, by virtue of that alone, we have to factor how, that in and how it plays into things. Kevin Porter Jr. is an insane talent as well. I'm most excited to see, among everything else, I'm most excited to see what type of leap Kevin Porter Jr. has taken from last season to this season. They gave him the keys. They turned him into a point guard. He tweeted, "I'm a point guard," which is funny because John Wall's on the team. But he struggled to shoot the ball.
Right.
He was really good creating. He struggled to shoot it from deep. But if he's going to play next to John Wall, he's got to be a three-point threat.
Right.
And I think that he's also got to be more of a scorer next to John Wall, and hopefully John Wall kind of reverts back to being a facilitator. I think last season he took the second most field goal attempts in his career. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's true.
I mean, it feels true. It, like, from watching him, that seems like probably true.
It was a little tough to watch at times.
Yeah.
It's like
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And we need him to get back to being like, 16, 17 a game and 10 assists, John Wall, instead of
Right.
like 20 and 6, So if he can do that, and if Kevin Porter Jr. is able to become that type of scorer, both off ball, when he gets the ball, like if he can become that, and then you put Jalen Green next to them, I mean, that's a lot of talent, So you'd be looking at Daniel Tice. This is what I think the starting lineup will be, just a guess. Daniel Tice, Christian Wood at the 4. I think they're going to run Jalen Green at the 3 or KPJ. Doesn't matter. KPJ, Jalen Green at the 2 and the 3, John Wall at the 1. And then off the bench, Eric Gordon at the 2, Jayshawn Tate at the 3 or the 4, KJ Martin, I'm assuming
3 or
will crack the
4.
rotation.
Yeah.
Şengün, Garuba, we'll see like how much they play, if anyone goes down to the G League or not.
Did we re-sign Wabu?
Yeah, we signed Nwaba.
He should be coming off the bench too, huh?
Yeah, Nwaba.
Oh, yeah, I always forget. I keep forgetting
Yeah.
Nwaba.
Yeah.
Nwaba. People also forget DJ Augustine's the backup point guard.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
He's the
Damn, hey, we're looking kind of nice.
Well, I would say, yeah, it's a loaded roster. I think there's a lot of fat that would, as obviously as if we're running it like 2K team as Rockets fans, man, we just want to see KPJ, Jalen Green, Jayshawn.
And don't forget
Tate.
Daniel House.
Daniel
Daniel
House,
House,
and
yeah.
I don't know. There's a Clutch fan thread about him trying to sign him to an extension. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah,
But,
I saw that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you got Nwaba, you got House or Gordon. I would say between John Wall, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, who do you think gets shipped out first?
John Wall, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood
Yeah.
first.
Or who would you like to see, or what do you think's most realistic?
I would like to see John Wall shipped out. I think we
Right.
all would.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
I think that's
No,
pretty
no
easy.
disrespect.
to
No,
John Wall.
not disrespect. He doesn't deserve to be on this team. He's a $40 million a year player. I think he's about as, I don't know, he's good. He can still play.
Like he's just out of place, right? We're in the youth movement and like
Right.
He's an
He does-
older, injury-prone guy. Yeah.
He needs to be on a
now,
contender.
there is a world where John Wall can lead this team to like look, this team could go either way, right? First of all, to answer your question, John Wall, who do I if it was up to me, who do I think is most likely to go first? Christian Wood, simply because he's the most attractive of the three.
His contract has ridiculous value right now.
Yeah,
Ridiculous
exactly.
value.
And that's when you gotta shop him, when he has the most value, which is
Right.
he's got a lot of it right.
we
But
now.
I would hate
but
to
I-
miss out on him, man. Like I saw a lot of promising things from him, and I would love to see him like coming off the pick and rolls with Jalen Green, or like
Yeah.
like I just
Adam-
love his game, man. I can't lie.
Adam's attached.
I love
don't
Christian
trust
Wood.
me.
I
When
really do.
Christian Wood was balling last year, we were like
Yeah.
11 and
Right.
11, man. And then before his ankle injury, it was nice.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean,
he
I
was
see
looking
his
like
I see his
AD.
ceiling can be pretty high, man.
Yeah.
for sure.
I was shopping for Christian Wood jerseys. I was like, yo.
yeah, man.
Well, dude, 6'10" stretch bigs that can score. He made it look effortless.
He
a
did
lot.
make it look
He's a
effortless.
great,
he would
great
get-
shot.
It'd be like Christian Wood has like 10 and 4 through like 2.5 quarters, and then all of a sudden he finishes the game with like 22 and 11 and 2 blocks, and you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
And that doesn't grow on trees, especially shooting I think 38% from 3 on like 4 attempts. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a star potentially, right? So I'm with you. I would like to see him grow. I think him, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. is like a solid young star trio, and then
Yeah.
you have Jayshawn Tate and KJ Martin as like kind of supporting cast role player types. So it's like, and then obviously, I mean, Şengün, and we haven't even talked about Garuba.
Yeah,
But-
we haven't.
But that being said, it's all about what the Rockets want to do. Like I said, I think that there's a world where this team, as is, could be really good if guys play their roles correctly and if certain guys have taken the leaps like KPJ that we hope they've taken. On the flip side of that, the problem is there's so many. We have about 10 to 12 guys that could all make an argument to get minutes.
Exactly. And that's tough.
And a few of them are like vets. I'll group House in with the vets.
Yeah.
I
He's a
guess de
vet.
facto.
He's
But,
a vet. Yeah.
So you got House, Augustine,
Nwaba.
John Wall, Eric Gordon, maybe even Nwaba. Nwaba's an older guy who's kind of bounced around the league and been around for a while. So you got like all these guys, and then you have all the young guys, and that's. I'll say this: we don't talk about this enough on Twitter. This is a season where we're going to learn a lot about Steven Silas.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah. Last season, he gets a mulligan, he gets a pass or whatever
Absolutely.
because it was a shit show. This season, the judgments and determinations of what he does as a coach and his approach to everything. Like this is where we start, right? How is he going to manage these? I don't even want to call them egos, but how is he going to manage all these players? How is he going to manage the rotation? It's not going to be easy. You know, like the NBA is not built for 10 to 12 guys to play every night.
right.
And I think we got used to Mike D'Antoni playing like 7. But if you find the harmony of like, you know, a solid 8-9 man rotation, most good teams do that. So what is Silas going to do? I honestly have no idea. Like I've looked at this roster a lot, and I really have no idea. And we also don't know where they are. They meaning the front office and management.
Yeah.
Where they are in their evaluations of players, right? Like we're all thinking, oh, Şengün, Garuba, blah blah blah. I think it'd be rare for 3 rookies to get big minutes.
Yeah.
And we also have to remember, like I said, hand in hand with the determination and evaluation of Silas, like they want to win. You know,
Right.
they don't. We're all thinking, oh, tank, get another pick.
Right.
2K mode. Yeah, for sure.
That's not what those guys are thinking. Like those guys
Yeah.
aren't showing up on the court every day. Like, yeah, let's just tank.
Yeah,
dog.
they're not
Right.
busting.
You know what I mean?
You know, with the team as constructed, I would say, you know, not making the play-in game would be a disappointment, for sure. I think this team is a play-in game
yeah.
material team.
I mean, the West is really good, but I think they'd finish, you know, with a low playoff seeding. I think they'll make the playoffs. You know, I don't know if they're going to play in that 7, 8, 9, 10 game. They
I
you
think
know,
that's
probably
about
somewhere in there. Yeah, they'll probably be in one of those play-in games. But I definitely think they could win a play-in game and get into the playoffs, and I don't know, see what happens. Maybe they're one of those teams that shocks somebody, but the potential is there. And from
I
what
think they have enough talent.
yeah, the
Yeah,
talent
talent's
is
there.
definitely there, and I like Steven Silas. I mean, we haven't really had much material to go off of, but I have a good feeling about him. The stuff that I did watch from last season, even though, like you said, last season was kind of a shit show, I think he's got a lot of things to be excited for in a head coach, and I enjoy, you know, just seeing what he did with the team last year. I think he'll do some good things with the team this year, so I think the Rockets will definitely try and make a playoff run this year for sure.
These are the teams. I'm sorry, did Adam want to go?
No, go ahead, man. Go for it.
Yeah.
These are the teams that I think are definitely better than Houston in the West. And I don't think the West is that good this season. I
No,
tweeted
this is one of
Well-
the low points of the West, man. They haven't been this.
Probably the weakest it's been in a long
Yeah,
time.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here, I'll run through it. Lakers are top end heavy. I think
Okay.
the Lakers go to the finals unless someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
Phoenix, we'll see if Phoenix's success was a product of, you know, the weird season and other teams being down. I think they'll be good. Chris Paul's health is never a given, and he's about to be 37, maybe 36,
37,
37.
yeah.
I remember the
37.
second year he was in Houston too, so you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
recapturing, like when a young team makes a run like that, recapturing that is difficult.
It
so we'll
is.
see.
Yeah.
But Book is another year older. Aiden's another year older, so that should bode well for them.
Mm-hmm.
Denver will definitely be better than Houston.
What team was that?
Denver.
Denver.
Oh, Denver. Okay.
And
Denver. If Jamal Murray doesn't come back, then I mean their ceiling is limited. But
Right.
I think Jeff Green's a good pickup. If Jamal Murray does come back and he's legit, then they could maybe make a run for it. I think
Sure.
with
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon. now.
Aaron Gordon
Yeah,
was a great pickup for them last
you,
season. So.
you just said
Yeah.
Jeff Green was a good. I mean, that I think is a really underrated pickup in the NBA circles. Is Jeff Green going to Denver because
And he
Man.
replaces Paul Millsap.
Paul
So,
and they
like,
have JaMychal Green now, Jeff Green and Aaron Gordon, all stretch four bigs, all guys that can, you know, you can throw them in, they'll play their role.
Right.
That's solid to have around Jokic. So
Yeah, and they had Aaron Gordon as, you know, Jamal Murray got hurt, so Aaron Gordon became like their third guy.
and he
He's
don't
not
want him
really
to be a
built
third
for
guy.
No, he. I was
Yeah.
saying
Aaron
he
Gordon's
didn't
your
play
fourth
very well.
guy, and
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. is your third guy. You're
Yeah.
in pretty good shape.
It really hinges on Jamal Murray.
for sure.
For sure.
So Phoenix, LA, Denver better than Houston. Utah obviously better than Houston.
Yeah.
I still have them as frauds because of how they went out last season. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard for me to take them serious. As
They
an
can just.
Great
They have
regular
just
season
never
team.
performed in the playoffs.
Great regular.
Never.
Harden has given them nightmares.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too.
They guarded him
Right.
from his butt that one time. It was embarrassing. to watch.
So Utah's better. The Mavericks will be better. I think they had a poor offseason, but they're still gonna. I mean, they got Luka. Porzingis is still there, even though he's got his flaws. They'll be better than Houston. So that's 5. I think the Warriors will be better than Houston.
Yeah.
Clay will come back, assuming Clay is.
It's exciting.
Yeah, how do you think Clay is going to look?
I don't know. I think a lot of people are saying he's not going to be himself. I think he could. I think recovery from injuries has changed from like how it used to be. So
Right.
we're still kind of not used to that. And also defensively, I think he might maybe take some hits. It's going to be hard to like, gather like on his Achilles. And I think he tore an ACL, right? So like the movement will be tough, but offensively, like you don't lose that shot. He'll still have the shot. So I think he'll be potent. And then they got Otto Porter Jr., which
That's
is a good
great
pickup.
And then Kelly
and
Kelly Oubre is gone to Charlotte now, right?
Kelly Oubre went to Charlotte. And then
Okay.
there's also rumors I saw this morning of the Warriors picking up Paul Millsap, maybe. So
Wow.
I don't think Paul Millsap's like amazing, but
No.
I think it would help them.
But he's
Coming
a
off the
nice
bench,
pickup, yeah,
probably.
for
I
sure.
was obsessed with Paul Millsap to the Rockets, like back in the Atlanta days, for sure.
Because
he
he
was
used
an
to kill
all-star,
Houston
yeah.
when he was in Utah.
Oh yeah, I mean he was that perfect 4 guy to have. And speaking of Golden State, I think my issue with them is not question mark is not the Klay Thompson, but I mean that Draymond Green KD interview, it's causing some drama over there. I'm sure. And
Yeah.
I don't think Draymond Green stays on that team throughout the year. By the end of the year.
Oh,
Dang, for real?
The only way Draymond Green gets traded is if they have a proven path to upgrading the roster.
I think
Because they want
it's Ben Simmons that he goes.
No way. Ben Simmons?
I
That would be
think
crazy.
I think it is.
that would
But,
be crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Well, if that happens, you heard it here first.
Heard it here
Yeah.
first.
So Lakers, Mavs, Nuggets,
Clippers.
Suns, Jazz. That's 5. Warriors 6. Clippers will be better than the Rockets, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be what they were without Kawhi, but I think they'll be better than the Rockets. They've got Paul George. They've still got,
Definitely will be better than the Rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got
They-
Eric Bledsoe back too.
yeah, we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
What
we'll
about
see.
Portland?
Portland, I think Portland had an underwhelming offseason, but they basically bring their team back, so they'll be better than the Rockets.
Yeah, why can't they make a good move, man?
I
I feel
don't-
like Portland never makes a good move in the offseason.
They made that Rocco move. Who's
Yeah.
been a guest on your show, right, Roosh? He's
Yeah.
one of my
Poor
favorite.
Rocco, man. Like everywhere
Yeah.
he goes, I feel bad for him because when we talk to him,
Yeah.
he
I
was talking
love
about-
Rocco.
Me
Yeah.
too, man. And he was talking about in Portland how he was like happy that they had an identity and like he was on a team.
Now they don't.
Now like James like, oh, maybe I'm leaving.
He's such a
so-
good 3-4. Yeah.
So that's 8, I think, roughly. Memphis is kind of moving backwards.
Yes.
The Valanciunas trade was weird.
Yeah, why did they do that?
I didn't like. He was their best
Dude, he
scorer
is
last year.
awesome.
Yeah, he was a. Maybe they wanted to give
He had the
John
best
Morant
year of his
more points.
career.
I don't know.
That was
Now
the
they're
best year.
Yeah, I agree.
They're reportedly open to shopping Dylan Brooks and
yikes.
someone else. I forget. Someone else that was
Interesting what they're trying to do over
Yeah,
there. 'cause
we'll
I thought
see.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks is a good guy to grow with. John
Dylan Brooks is-
Morant, give him that grit and grind
Also,
mentality.
both of those guys had the best seasons of their career. And now they're gone.
Almost like they're kind of punting on the season. It's weird.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily sold on Memphis. So this is where we start going into teams that maybe Houston could outperform.
Houston's better. Than
Memphis isn't untouchable. They were only 4 games above 500, and they got worse.
I
So
think we're better than them. Yeah,
We could be.
as constructed.
Spurs stink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were 6 games under 500 last season, and that was with DeMar DeRozan, and now they don't even have DeMar DeRozan.
I was convinced they were going to draft Şengün too, and I was
That's what I thought.
pleasantly
They could draft
surprised. He's like perfect, international, big,
Right.
talented,
Yeah.
fundamental, whatever.
The type of dude you would imagine in San
I'm not
Antonio.
complaining. Look,
Yeah.
I'm so ecstatic we got him. That was the guy I wanted in the draft with Jalen Green,
Right.
and I couldn't believe we didn't have to trade our other first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
So
I think that. So remember we were talking about. Remember all the rumors about the Rockets looking to trade like the 23rd pick and Eric Gordon to move up.
that's what I thought we would do for Şengün, and
That's what it was. I don't know that for sure, but that from everything I've gathered, that's what I think it was. They were looking to move. They were looking to go up as high as number 6.
to
like
get
they were
him,
talking.
or just to get to number 6.
So I don't know exactly who was in the package and like what was happening, but I think they valued Şengün that high.
Wow.
This is my guess. The internal like analytics scouting folks, excuse me, the internal scouting folks that favored analytics, who probably wanted Evan Mobley. I think Şengün was like the compromise.
I
pick.
gotcha.
It's like, hey, we're taking Jalen Green and not Evan Mobley, but on the back end of that, we're going to try to move up and get Şengün. So I know they valued him extremely high. So like they really feel like they got their guy. But okay, Memphis, I'm not sold on. Spurs, I think will stink. Pelicans,
Yeah.
I don't know. They've got star power with Zion and Ingram's playing really well.
They
Valanciunas is
Yeah, who do they get for Lonzo that trade? They got Saturansky or something.
Saturansky, yeah. You know, I don't know. So they lose Lonzo. They get Valanciunas, which should be better than Steven Adams, but how much better next to Zion? I don't really know. And then they got, I think, Devontae Graham, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, solid.
So I don't know.
But,
Material upgrades, not really, but
yeah.
like, I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And then, okay, Memphis, San Antonio. Memphis and New Orleans are iffy to me. Like, they could be worse than Houston. They could be better. I don't really – it's hard to tell at this point. And New Orleans is also like a Zion injury away from being awful. So there's that.
To getting another first-round pick that wants to leave in 3 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hope he doesn't get hurt, but, like, there's that.
Yeah.
Then Kings, you know, like, they're the Kings.
They're the Kings.
They're the Kings.
Minnesota's interesting. They have Chris Finch for a full season now. They get Pat Bev. Maybe, you know, another year of Anthony Edwards. Maybe they're better. On paper, they have like enough talent to be decent. So
yeah, they're still really
but they
young.
just never put it together.
That D'Lo trade isn't looking good for him. I think they traded some really nice picks for
anyone
that.
who trades for D'Lo it just doesn't look good for them.
I think as constructed right now, the way Roosh was saying what the starting lineups look like, I would be disappointed if they didn't make that play-in game.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not worse than a 10 seed. Like, they're absolutely a 10 seed or above. I think they fall somewhere between 10 and 8, maybe 10 and 7. But
theoretically, I just wanted to finish the thought so I could like present it.
Yeah.
Theoretically, they just got to finish better than OKC, Sacramento, San Antonio, and then one more team. Because if they finish better than OKC, Sacramento, San Antonio, and let's say like Minnesota,
yeah,
then they're 10, and that's a plane.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, on the other hand, though, and this is the thing that we don't talk about again, like, is John Wall going to play back-to-backs? You know, is the rotation ironed out? Are they going to are we going to get news that they made this trade that, like, clearly signals a rebuild direction? You know, like, oh, they just traded Christian Wood for some picks, or, oh, they just traded, you know? Is Eric Gordon going to do what Eric Gordon does and come out hot and, like, actually contribute, and then they trade him? Like, those are the things that we can talk about disappointment if they don't make a play-in, but we don't really know what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
you know?
And I'm saying as constructed, make the plan. I do not mind. Like, same as last year, I did not mind. Once they traded Harden, I was like, full tank mode. Let's clean the slate. This is the perfect year to get picks.
Yeah.
And then we always had that 50-50 shot to get number 2. Thank the Lords, old gods and the new, you know, for that.
Are you guys upset that they, like, I'm at the point where I'm cool with Jalen Green over Cade?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. You know,
perfectly fine with it. Once we got number 2, I was already like, we're not getting Cade, so you know, threw that out. We're getting Jalen Green or Evan Mobley, and I wanted Green. I understand the people that wanted Mobley. I wouldn't have been disappointed if we got Mobley. So.
But Jalen Green really made a point, and they had that game where they played against each other, and he really kind of showed. Yeah, he had a little bit. Good. Yeah, he looks better than Cade to me, honestly. Like, at least in that game and overall from what I've seen so far. So I'm really happy with Jalen Green.
Roosh, you recently went on a Detroit podcast, right, to talk a little shit with them. How did that go? I didn't hear it, but I saw it.
It was all love.
Yeah.
Detroit Twitter is what eviscerated me. But it's all good.
Dude, they're so salty. Yeah, it's all good.
They were. Cade is going to look really good next to NBA players.
Yes.
Some of his passes aren't at a level for Summer League guys. But that being said, Detroit's starting lineup, for the most part, their Summer League starting lineup was
their lineup.
Yeah. Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey. So there's also that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just extremely excited about Jalen Green. I think he can come out the gate and give us like 16 or 17 a game. But it depends on touches, you know?
Yeah.
But look, you mentioned it, Sid. They were 11-10 last season, and that was with Harden doing what Harden was doing. They went, I think, 3-4 with Harden. That was with John Wall missing like a handful of those first 21 games.
Yeah.
Wood missed a couple of them too. And guys were in and out of the lineup. Remember, they started with that weird barbershop COVID thing. People started getting hurt. Harden.
It was a nightmare start to the season. Absolutely nightmare.
They had the Lakers back to back, and they like banged the back,
destroyed both games,
cracked our backs, and just sent us to the abyss. So all that being said, they were 11-10. And then Eric Gordon missed a bunch of games. Christian Wood got hurt. The Oladipo debacle happened and didn't work. Like,
God, so much happened last year, man.
It was wild. It was
You
so
had
much.
you had Wood on your fantasy team, and you were
I
sitting
did.
pretty, and then he rolled his ankle
Twice.
and then I
He had
think
2 ankle injuries.
like he missed 20 straight
Right.
games, and we went on a 20-game losing streak, something like that. But
yep.
God, that was hard.
that was man, and that was the only reason I was watching
Right.
Rockets games, to watch Christian Wood at that point.
I kind of want to bring this up just because it seems like it happened, like, it doesn't seem like it happened, that long ago, but the James Harden trade, I mean, like, and this was like, I feel like it happened and it was gone. It just came and everyone just like, it was like, what the fuck is going on? And then it came, it went, and everyone just accepted it, and we just kept moving on with our lives. And it was just
I think
like,
it's because we all knew
so
it was
weird.
coming.
The
Like,
writing
we
was on
knew
the
he
wall.
was gone.
yeah.
When he was showing up in the fat suit and just looking horrible, like, we knew he was gone. And so then when it happened, it was just like, and then everyone got so excited about, like, oh, he's in Brooklyn, the whole KD, Kyrie, Harden
Yeah.
thing. Everyone just
It's
kind of
such
like
a weird thing, man.
mentally transitioned to this new era of like
And-
Nets basketball.
And the media, basketball media, which not Rockets Twitter. Rockets
Right.
Twitter is like what I use as my savior because basketball
Yeah.
media sucks. Typically, national media. I mean, all of a sudden they did an about face on Harden. That was
Yeah.
nice to see. I think he deserved that. He didn't.
A what?
The about face, like all of a sudden the media is like, oh, Harden's game's so pretty, he passes so well, and when he was on Houston, it was like he's the ball hog, he's
Yeah.
ugly, he just gets the
Yeah, I
line.
talked to a lot of different people for my show, and like some of them are those types of people, right?
Yeah.
That like have those takes, and then they're like, no, but he's playing different now, and it's like, nah,
Not
dude,
playing different.
He's not
you
playing
were
different.
you were either not watching, or you were watching with like a very specific
Bias,
bias,
yeah.
Yeah.
about what you were watching,
For
or you
sure.
just don't get like the difference between your second best player being Eric Gordon versus Harden being the second best player,
Right.
to KD. You
so
know what I mean?
true.
Like, you just don't know basketball,
Yeah.
right?
You
Yeah,
just don't know.
Right?
And
But
yeah,
go for it.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, I only
well,
brought this up to say.
now I remembered, but
Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was happy. I was happy for Harden. I think I'm really happy for him in a situation in Brooklyn. I want him to win a championship. They're obviously, if they stay healthy, no one's gonna touch him. I believe it when Harden said it. Like no one's gonna beat him. I want him
Yeah.
to win a ship, and I wanted him to go to a situation where he was better. That being said, I feel like he's always had in the offseason pictures where he looks fat and pictures where he looks fit. I just think it's his body. I just think the media likes to blow that out of proportion.
I don't know, man. He looked wild when he just came in and looked super overweight and just like unhealthy and out of shape.
Then he dropped 40 in his first
I'm
game.
gonna push back on that, man. I think that was just a picture.
It's
By
just
the
a
way,
picture. Yeah.
Just so y'all know, I've got about 15, 17 minutes left. So if there's
Oh,
anything
okay.
y'all
Cool.
let
Okay.
me know. But I think that was just a picture, dude, because he came in that first game and went ballistic. You remember that Portland
Yeah, he
game?
dropped 40 something points. Yeah.
Like I remember watching that and just losing my mind. I remember I was tweeting like, "Yo, the price of the brick is going through the roof. Like,
Yeah.
if you want this man, But when he was traded, for me, it was relief. It was just like this thing that we were like every day. I was waking up, checking Twitter, making sure that a Woj bomb didn't drop.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Lakers game happened. The Lakers back-to-back happened, and I think we all knew. I definitely knew how we fared against the Lakers was basically going to determine what was going to happen. But when you go back and watch those games, Harden was throwing it. He was ready to. He wanted out. He really forced out. So when it happened, it was relief. It was like, okay, cool, he's gone. It's not Ben Simmons, thank God.
Oh my God.
And then you have direction, right? It's like, okay, we have four pick swaps, 4 draft picks. Like now we know what the deal is. Let's try to tank, and the rest is history, right? So it worked out. We got the number 2 pick. We still haven't touched any of those Brooklyn draft assets. None of them. So, and also I was going to say this about Şengün. So they were trying to package, the 23 or the 24, right, with Eric Gordon to move up. They didn't touch any of those assets. The 2 draft picks they gave up were their 2 worst. It
I
was
didn't
the
know
one
that.
from
I didn't know
Westbrook.
Yeah, that's the beautiful story, and that's
Wow.
the beautiful
Yeah.
thing about Rafa Stone, man. He's, I don't know, doesn't look like we took a step down from Daryl Morey. Not at all. I don't think Rafa Stone has made a bad move at all.
No, so far what we've seen is great.
I mean,
Loads of great
sneaking in
decisions.
KPJ.
Some
Yeah.
of it, we have to keep it real. Some of it was due to luck.
It was.
But I think it's calculated luck, like
You make your own luck.
Like, I think the Oladipo thing, some people roast us for not taking Karis LeVert, which is like the most just mind-numbing discussion to have.
Yeah, agreed.
It's like he knew what he was doing with Oladipo. It was either going to work out or it wasn't. And if it wasn't, they were going to flip him to Miami. I think they knew that. And that's what they did, right? And then it resulted in the number 2 pick, getting Kevin Porter Jr. Like, that could prove to be huge. Jayshawn Tate, incredible signing. Russ forced his way out. Otherwise, maybe they could have gotten more for Russ without the whole John Wall thing. But again, that pick that they got from the Russ trade, from trading him for John Wall, they used to get Şengün. So it's like
Exactly.
everything leads to something else, and now we're almost at the point where we have clear vision and direction on the future of the team, pending what happens with John Wall. If they move John Wall or if they buy him out or something, everything else to me falls in place.
Yeah.
So, we mentioned earlier talking about Christian Wood and the guys that we think, might not be on the team next year, might end up getting shopped. And we mentioned Christian Wood having a good amount of value. If Christian Wood does get sent somewhere, we do shop him. What do we want for Christian Wood? Like, what do we expect, value-wise from a Christian Wood? And then what would you personally like to see the Rockets get from Christian Wood?
I mean, I'd like to keep him, but maybe that's just like the basketball fan in me. I just like to watch him play basketball.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see, like, basketball-wise, what can he bring with these other young pieces. But if they do trade him, you're looking for draft capital, like good draft. You're basically not looking to take salary back. Because if you are looking to take salary back, chances are it's just not going to be worth it. Like, why would you do that? Because Christian Wood's value, usually when you're trading a big player, you can either net like a bunch of, multiple good players back to make the salary match or something like that. But Christian Wood gets $13 million a year. So if you're trading him, you're basically trying to get draft picks back and maybe someone on like a rookie contract that's promising or something like that. So if they do trade him, I'd be looking for more picks and exactly that, a promising young guy that maybe someone's given up on. Who that is, I have no idea. But like I said, I'd like to keep him.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
I would like to keep him too. I like Christian Wood a lot. Like I said, I was shopping Christian Wood jerseys last year, so I would like to keep him. Preferably, if anyone goes, I'd like it to be John Wall just because of the injuries. And, he just doesn't sort of have that same energy that fits on the team right now with us being such a youth-driven basketball team right now. But hopefully Christian Wood is there and we get to really see him play in an injury-free environment and he gets to just thrive in this new young Rockets environment.
I think Daniel Tice might really help with that, and so he doesn't have to bang with the bigs. He can kind of just play freely, Yeah.
I think Daniel Tice's presence will make some of those pieces fit, in a way that we didn't get to see last season. Christian Wood is kind of playing out of position. And so when he gets a chance to actually play like a big stretch four, I think that's going to help for sure. Is there anything that we have not touched on, Rockets basketball? Anything else you wanted to get to?
Yeah, man. Well, I know you don't have a lot of time. Let's transition away from the Rockets for a minute and tell me what you think about the East and our reigning champs, the Bucks, and what do you see happening on that side of basketball real quick before you have to go?
Yeah, man. I think the East is definitely better than the West in terms of the top-heavy talent right now. I think Brooklyn and LA, obviously LA's in the West, but Brooklyn and LA are probably the two best teams on paper.
Sure.
Milwaukee, I'm still of the belief that Milwaukee won that thing because they played Phoenix in the finals and because Brooklyn was hurt.
Yeah, if Kyrie didn't go down, the Nets were in the finals, and it's a different story.
Was on one leg,
yeah.
too.
I respectfully disagree.
Well, okay.
That's all I have to say.
That's fine. That's fine. It's just Kyrie, Harden was playing on one leg, and it took, if KD's foot is 2 inches behind them,
they send them home. And with the game before Kyrie went down, they beat the Bucks by like 42 or whatever.
I will say though that was the actual finals. That game was the two best teams I felt that were left in the NBA in the playoffs at that time. And dude, they had some epic games, man. Game 5, Game 7, just some epic NBA games that you can, like, those will live throughout history as some of the greatest games. I just loved that series, and I loved the matchups, and just really fun. And I'm excited for Milwaukee for the next few years. And I listened to a few of your podcasts and the finals recap. And Noble, I actually like Noble's takes on Giannis. Y'all are going back and forth a little bit, and I actually really liked it because Noble had a little bit similar perspective that I did with Giannis and the Bucks. And but I also could totally see where you were coming from as well. But
what was that perspective?
He was just he was saying he can see the Bucks going at least 3 or 4 more times. Getting some titles at least 3 or 4 more times, and how they get talked down a lot, and how the season, obviously you brought up they played the Suns in the finals. Yeah, they weren't the hardest matchup, of course, but you obviously can't take anything away from it as well. But I feel like a lot of people do try to, but also I see what I saw from Giannis was that he did everything right.
He did.
And, if they keep that same team, if they at least keep Drew Holiday, Middleton, and some of those core guys, I see them just making some, I just see them being a dynasty kind of team. And if you have a guy like Giannis putting up 50 in the finals, I mean, come on. I think he can do that
legendary.
again. And, no matter who he has in front of him, I don't think there's one guy in the NBA who can really hold him. So that's just my take, but I'll just leave it at that.
I think it's a mixture, man. I think the pushback on the Bucks comes as an effect to the cause, which the cause being the hyperbolic reaction. Oh my God, this is like people were classifying the Bucks title with the Rockets and with Dirk, like, oh, Giannis did this without any stars, quote unquote. And I think that's hyperbolic.
That is.
And I also have an issue with results-based analysis. It's like, oh my God, the Bucks did this. This is crazy. But it's like, look, we could go through every single run and find somewhere where if something changed, maybe the result is then different. So you can't invalidate what they did, and I don't. Giannis shut me up, but at the same time, I mean, we know that the two best teams were hurt. AD was hurt, and Kyrie and James Harden were hurt. And if those teams were healthy, we're just simply not having this discussion. So I do think the Suns were one of the weakest finals teams, especially out of the West, in a long time. But not to take anything away from Giannis, Are they dynastic? I don't know. I could see Giannis definitely winning another one. He's that good.
Yeah.
But he's going to need help. And it's not like Chris Middleton was putting up, I don't know what he ended up with, but I think going into Game 7, he was putting up like 25, 7, and 5.
Yeah, he was huge.
He was playing so well.
He was going crazy. So, but, I mean, they're the champs, man. So in the East, I think Brooklyn's the best. I think Milwaukee will definitely have a chance to repeat or to at least do their best to defend their title. Philadelphia is still really good. I don't know what's going to happen with Ben Simmons, but people forget Danny Green got hurt in that second round.
Yeah.
As soon as Danny Green got hurt.
Yeah.
If they bring Danny Green back and don't count Morey out, he's going to wheel and deal.
He's going to.
Miami just spent a lot of money to, I don't know, really.
Yeah, right.
Jimmy.
There's a lot of defensive-minded players, I guess.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry's going to help, but they're going to find themselves in a situation, I think, in a few years where like Duncan Robinson and Jimmy Butler.
Those contracts are not great.
Yeah.
They are going to find.
Boston, I think, is interesting. I'm really high on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Adding Dennis Schroeder, I think, should help a little bit. They also got Chris Dunn. They just got a couple pieces that like make them a better, well-rounded team. Chris Dunn being one, I think, defensively. And then Al Horford. They bring Horford back. And I think they've needed some type of presence as a big. They haven't had it since Horford left. They had like Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson, and I just don't think that cuts it. So I think they'll make a little bounce back, and then we'll see if Atlanta can kind of take that next step or if Atlanta was just kind of fortunate, and had like a good run with Ben Simmons melting. But yeah, I mean, look, if everyone's healthy, no injuries happening, it's going to be the Nets and the Lakers in the finals. That's my take.
Yeah, a team you didn't mention, and if we get into that, I think it's as Houston fans, I don't feel right, invalidating any championships because I defend my ass off on Astros ships, Rocket ships, 94, 95, when everyone was like, oh, Michael Jordan wasn't playing. So we got to do our part, defend ours. I feel bad I understand from Milwaukee's standpoint. I think if you win a full 7-game, full NBA series, you deserved it. But
we did what we did from Jordan was gone.
Yeah, I agree.
From game 1, Jordan was gone. And I'm not taking anything away from Milwaukee. I'm just saying, is it?
It's not like Jordan went down mid-series, the right.
Right.
I'm defending the Astros championships too, so I got the shirt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I should. So like I'm also,
But again, I'm not here to take anything away from Giannis. I just don't think that title is in the same realm as what Dirk did with the Mavs and what Olajuwon did with the Rockets.
Yeah.
I don't think that's crazy.
So what I was actually going to say is the one team you didn't mention there is the Bulls that I think made some of the most interesting moves.
DeMar and Zach LaVine.
I think they could be a
4
4 seed. I think they could. A lot of offensive-minded players, whereas the Heat have a lot of defensive-minded players that they added. So I don't know. I think Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, very interesting. 4 players.
It is very
right
interesting.
There.
I think losing Thaddeus Young is going to hurt, but he's like one of those connector, like kind of.
He is a glue guy kind of guy. Yeah.
But
they've got what's his name, Patrick Williams.
Pat Williams. If he takes another leap, we'll just have to see. Like, I don't know. DeMar's a good player, but next to Zach LaVine, I just have to see how they share the ball and how that works, that dynamic. And
also, it's going to be very interesting, right?
Vucevic as well. those are three guys that are used to having the ball a lot on not great teams lately. So we'll see how they like kind of combine forces.
That's
For
four
sure.
guys that need the ball in their hands. And I know when they say Chris Paul and James Harden can't work because they have the ball in their hands, obviously, like, good players figured out. I think they can figure it out, but, I think it'd be interesting. If they do figure it out, they
I
could
hope
score
they
a
do,
shit ton of
yeah.
points.
It's fun when, the Bulls are back. And also, last thing I'll say about the East is we'll see if Kemba does anything for New York. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not like super high on Kemba, but I think adding him to a team that had the 4 seed without really losing much hopefully should help.
Well, you saw in the playoffs that Randall needed scoring help.
Oh yeah, Randall cannot. I love
it.
the Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan. Randall cannot be your number 1 guy. He's like a solid number. He's a great number 3 option. He can be a decent number 2, but he cannot be your number 1. R.J. Barrett and those guys all have to really step up, and maybe Kemba coming into the team helps. But I'm optimistic about the Knicks. I think they can be a 5 or 6 seed
Kemba and Fournier.
for sure.
to carry the scoring load.
Oh, I forgot they added Fournier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might have a little juice. I mean, are they title contenders? No, but
No.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach Tibbs, he makes sure you have a nice defensively minded team. So they might be good, a scrappy team that can maybe make some trouble. But Roosh, we know you got to go soon, so we want to respect your time. Is there anything you want to plug before you go? We know you have your own show, the Noble and Roosh Show. Anything else you want to talk about or plug?
Man, Noble and Roosh Show on Ball is Life. Just check it out anywhere you get your podcast, and you can follow me on Twitter at Roosh Williams, Roosh Williams. I got just a couple more minutes if there's anything you want to get in before I bounce.
Yeah, I was going to ask,
bet.
Obviously from your rap career to now being a prominent member
yeah.
of Rockets Twitter, how did that transition happen? Tell us how that journey is, how that journey's
man.
going and how it happened.
I wound down everything with music about 6 years ago. I just kind of reached a point where I just topped out, and I just didn't care.
Yeah,
anymore.
burned out a little bit. Yeah.
Because burnt out. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because when you go really hard at something and then you just kind of burn out, like some people, it's just natural, right?
Happens. Yeah.
And I was at the time, I was like 25 or 26, and I just wanted to make a career switch, so I did, and I went to law school. And my Twitter account was still my Twitter account, right? But like I wasn't really tweeting about music. It was just kind of there. It's like a dude that used to be something that he's not anymore, and like has a blue check on his Twitter for that reason. And it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I just started tweeting about the Rockets because that's what I like, right? And Ben Dubose, if you know Ben Dubose.
Well, I follow him on Twitter, so yeah, I'm familiar. For sure.
So Ben had me on. I hit up Ben, and I was like, hey man, if you ever want to talk Rockets, like let me know. I'd love to come on the podcast. And Ben was nice enough to bring me on the podcast and the Locked On Rockets podcast because he was hosting it at the time. And he did. And ever since then, it just kind of took off, like people started tuning into what I was saying about the Rockets. People started taking it seriously. And I started taking it a little more seriously as well. And the result is where we're at now. I mean, I think I only had like 4,000 followers, 3,000 or 4,000 followers or something. My Twitter presence wasn't really that popping off when I was doing the rap stuff. I was more so on Facebook and Instagram, which oddly enough, I don't use anymore.
Yeah.
But now I think I've got like almost 13, 14,000 because people just started following me with the Rocket stuff. And so, I think part of it has to do with how I kind of carried myself on Twitter. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that I think I know what I'm talking about most of the time, at least.
No, you do.
Some of the time.
For sure. That's why when I saw you had tweeted out, I told these guys, I was like, let's get him on. Because I want to talk Rockets.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and thanks for having
it's a
me on, man.
dream,
I like to do this. It's fun. It's like it's kind of similar to the rap stuff because it's like, but instead of, hey man, go look at my video or listen to my song, it's like, hey, let's just hop on and talk some basketball, and that's a lot easier.
It's the easiest thing in the world.
It's a lot easier. So I enjoy it. And then last thing I'll say on the flip side of that is with the podcast, right? Like we have guys like Jay Billis, LeVar Ball, Robert Covington, whatever. And you see them, it's cool because they recognize like what we're doing, and it's similar to the rap stuff because like sometimes people would recognize what you're doing and they go out of their way to give you a look or to spend a couple minutes talking to you or look at your stuff or post it or whatever. And so to see that from people that, I think we all collectively kind of look up to, like, or not even look up to, I don't look up to LeVar Ball, but people we know and like respect and kind of, to do that for like a podcast, it's like a similar grind, I guess is what I'm saying. And so it's cool, man. It's like a community, the NBA Twitter community.
Yeah, I
There's
love
a lot
it.
of characters, some of whom we don't like, some who we do like. But, it's cool, man. So I appreciate y'all having interest in having me on.
For sure.
Happy to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always welcome back. I know you said you live in LA, but I'm sure you're in Houston frequently. We're here in Houston, so you're more than welcome to stop by the studio.
If you want to come hoop too, man, just let us know.
Get some buckets.
Let me know. Where do you hoop?
Man, anywhere we can.
Y'all usually play at Lifetime.
Yeah, we have a couple we have a couple
wished.
private runs that we usually do, and we'll just get a group of guys together, like 10 to 15 guys at least,
Yeah.
and get some private runs. And other than that, we just LA Fitness and stuff like that. So.
Sometimes it's at
Where are your
6 a.m.
private? Where are your private runs held?
Just around town, man.
It's like Filipino court. They got
Yeah,
hoops.
some
Like, I'm saying like indoor or outdoor.
Indoor. Everything's
Fuck,
indoor.
No, I'm not playing outdoor here.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, if you got a private indoor run, I'm talking private. Like, we don't got to sit around and wait and argue
Yeah,
with kids.
no.
That's
That's
what we
the
do, yeah.
runs we do.
That's what
I'm
we
too
do.
old for the other shit now.
If you
LA
got
Fitness
that,
stuff.
I'll 100% come play. Let me know.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we'll let you know next time we go. For
Yeah,
sure,
definitely.
Man. We usually go at least once or twice a
We
week.
should come
so.
by and bust us all up.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
no
maybe we should.
guarantees, man. I'm 32. Some days I got it. Some days I'm trash.
Yeah,
man.
same. But yeah, no, I
But,
appreciate you're filling the void of some good basketball content, because there is a void of that, especially in the mainstream area. I found you because it's the same thing, man. I saw you were doing a great job talking about Rockets. Finally, a voice that I can like listen to, like has similar ideas to me, talks more in depth about stuff. Everyone on Rockets Twitter does a good job, except there's obviously a couple. But no, you're filling the void. Your show is great, and so I see why people appreciate what you're doing, and I do too. So, yeah, it's
Thanks
awesome.
for the praise, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, guys. I had a lot of fun. I have to get on this.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're
Yeah.
calling
So, Roosh Williams, thank you so much. Until next time, folks, watch some basketball, spit some bars, and go play some hoops with your friends. Stay safe out there in the cosmos, folks. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Peace.